Hello and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten and we are of course at the start of another weekly vlog, and this week I have to go back to work. But I have had an amazing 2 weeks off. If you've watched those vlogs you'd know that I got up to quite a lot of different things, but also made sure I had time just to rest and relax because that is important. Loved it, it was so good, and I do feel ready for work, but you know, I think we could always be like, well, we could always have another week off, but no, time to go back. Anyway, before we start rambling about nonsense, let's talk about the books that I'm reading. Now, if you watched the end of last week's video, you would know that I was in the middle of reading Daughter of a Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. This is the book I had to read for my extra pick of the month because I didn't finish my August TBR. I actually finished this on Sunday after I did the wrap up of the vlog, and it came out as 3 stars. But this was a really enjoyable 3 stars and a 3 stars I would happily reread. So I've said it before and I'll say it again, my 3 stars kind of have 2 categories that they sit in. The 3 stars like this one that I would happily reread, and the 3 stars that I wouldn't necessarily reread or continue with. But I can say I actually really enjoyed this one, and by the end of the book I was just like really invested in the characters, wanting to know what happens, and we got to the last page and I was like, it can't end there, what's gonna happen? And so of course I will be eventually getting the second book so I can find out what happens. This is following Alossa, who is the daughter of a pirate king, clearly. She is trying to find this map. As a result, she has to allow herself to be captured by these different pirates and then tries to search their ship while she can. It is very predictable. I like Alossa as a main character. She's very cocky and arrogant, but it's quite fun to follow her and see what she gets up to. Like I said, very predictable, but I enjoyed it, and this is the sort of book where I like keeping hold of these sort of YAs. So if I'm in a slumpy mood, or I don't know what I want to read, or I just need something that's a little bit mindless but still enjoyable, these books fulfill that so well for me. So I'll definitely be getting the second book eventually so I can actually carry on, and because honestly at the end of that book I was like, wait a minute, I want to know what's going on. And so yeah, I'm now invested in this more than what I thought I'd be, to be honest. So yeah, this is great fun. And I'm also in the middle of 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. Well, I say in the middle, I'm literally only 80 pages in, but this is so far standing up to exactly what I thought it'd be, which is a whimsical, very young adult read, which I don't mind actually. This is the reason why I even pre-ordered it in the first place, because I read Spin the Dawn. She did a duology that was a Mulan retelling, but it had brilliant imagery around clothes and everything, and I thought it was great. It has magic and whimsy, and this one is setting up to be the same feels of that. I believe it's set in the same world as the Spin the Dawn duology, and I'm enjoying it. So far we have met a shape-shifting dragon. We have also had the evil stepmother turn our main character's 6 elder brothers into cranes with the threat of death if she doesn't comply. So it's definitely reading like a proper old school Disney film, which I really like, where you've got your heroine and you've got the people to help and you've got the magic, and of course you have the evil person that you're trying to vanquish, which I think is just fun. It's definitely a light fun read, and I do plan on hopefully finishing this one this week. And other than that, I have 2 books left on my TBR for the month, which isn't bad at all considering that I still actually have quite a bit of time. So I might, when it finishes, squeeze in a extra reread or something. We'll see what the mood takes us, but I doubt that will happen this week. Now that all the reading stuff is out the way, I have a question. I really am feeling like changing up my shelves. So I am someone that changes up my bookshelves every few months because I get bored of looking at them. However, before I started doing booktube, the way I used to always have my shelves was by genre, and that used to always be the way, and I was very pedantic about keeping it in order, and it would have to be in a specific order that made sense to me. Then I started doing YouTube and I changed it, and I've tried a few different layouts but none of them have really stuck. So I've tried doing it by age range and then by height. I've also tried it A to Z, which honestly that lasted the least amount of time, and then obviously by colour, and I really do like these colour shelves, especially like the pink shelf and everything, like they are my favourite. However, the problem that I have by doing it by colour is that I have a lot of dark books because I read a lot of fantasy, and for some reason, fantasy and things like that are always darker covers. So that's all in my shelf over here, which you don't see as often apart from on a Sunday video. But they're overflowing. Like, the bottom couple shelves are just overflowing with books. I've got no more room. And the problem with doing this by colour is that it's very rare that I can squeeze them all in. And so all the extra space that could be used on these shelves is not getting utilised as well as it could be. So that's why I'm feeling like changing it up, because I am running out of space. And I'm just like, it just doesn't make sense. I can put books on the top of the shelves, which is something I would definitely do. And I might do for like my hardbacks and stuff. But I do need a bit more space. And I have 3 bookshelves. Granted, this one over here is my author shelf, and I can only actually use the top 3 shelves because this was my sister's old shelf that is broken and I can't use the bottom ones. So I've only got 3 shelves, but that works fine for my author shelves. So I have 2 bookshelves that I can use, but I'm really just not utilising them properly. So I am feeling of changing those up. So I've put a poll out this morning on Instagram, see what people think, and honestly it might be something we do this week, if not definitely like in the next couple of weeks, because I'm really feeling it. Let me know, do you guys change your bookshelves around a lot, or do you tend to keep them the same? I feel really sad like if I do get rid of these, because I do love the colours and I think it's so beautiful, but it just doesn't work like in trying to get the most space utilised out of these shelves. Anyway, that was the ramble. I do actually need to get to work, so I really should stop rambling and actually get to work, which honestly, I don't know why I'm like, oh, I don't want to go back to work. It's honestly going to be a really easy, chilled first day back because we're not testing today, so it's just going to be a relaxing day that I just need to catch up on all the work that hasn't been done while I've been off, which is more than I care to admit, but that's fine. We can do all of that. Okay, yeah, I really need to like just go. Okay, let's go. We've got this. We can do this. It's my day off today. I am rather excited for it. I know I've only been back to work 2 days, but 2 days is enough to get your feet wet, I think, and then I'll be back to work again tomorrow. But that's fine. Honestly, it was a bit of a hectic start back to work, but that was totally expected. Well, I have a bit of a ramble that I'm going to do, but first of all, let me update you on what I've been reading, which is only reading more of Six Crimson Cranes. I am now up to chapter 27, page 290, and I'm really enjoying this. It is exactly what I said it is. It's very much like an old school Disney where you have your villain and everything that you need to overcome. I do like our main character. I think she's really fun and she's going through quite a lot of growth at the moment, which I really like to see. I like how this is slightly different to Spin the Dawn. So even though it's set in the same world, Spin the Dawn focused very much on clothing and the imagery surrounding that, whereas this book is focusing more on cooking, which I really like. I think that's absolutely lovely. It makes me very hungry, which is why I had some snacks when I was reading it last night. Just so beautifully written. I really like Elizabeth Lim's very whimsical writing style. It's not going to be for everyone because it is on that young end, but I just think the writing is so beautiful that I really can't fault it, and it does just feel like a fairy tale, which, you know what, we all need a fairy tale every so often. So yeah, really enjoying this. Today I am heading out, so I'm going to be bringing with me The Girl King by Mimi Yu. This is one of the last books on my TBR actually, which is great. So because this is a hardback, I will be only reading this at home, and we're going out today, so figured I'll bring the paperback with me. And we're going to some interactive blue exhibit. I'm not even sure what's going on, but it's in Shepherd's Bush, so we're going to be going to that, possibly cinema as well, because my partner wants to see a film. But yeah, so we'll see what that brings us. I think it's going to be a busier day off than what I was expecting, which brings me to the ramble, which is I do want to change my shelves. And I put a poll out on Instagram and everyone kind of agreed, yep, change your shelves, go for it. Now I'm just deciding when I do it. I was going to do it today, but I'm too busy now, so I'm not going to get a chance. And I was also contemplating whether I film it, whether it would be kind of fun to do a bookshelf reorganisation video, which would only be a short video, but the only problem that I have with that is it's awkward to film some of the lower shelves on, well, all of these bookcases actually. So I'm not sure. I might film it, I don't know, we'll see. If you see a bookshelf or reorganisation video on here, I clearly did film it, but I think I'll just leave it up to how I'm feeling at the time. I really did want it to be this week that I sorted it out, but I just don't know if that's going to happen. I've also been thinking a lot about like my Instagram as well, because I feel like I've ended up setting rules for myself about my Instagram, about how often I need to post, the sort of things I need to post, mixing it up and things like that. And I'm just like, these are all self-imposed rules and they're not helpful to anyone. And there's been so many posts about like the Instagram algorithm and how nobody really understands it, and everyone tries doing all the things that they tell you to do and it doesn't work anyway. And so I'm just like, you know what, I really can't be bothered to get all caught up in all of that, and I'm really feeling just like ignore it and do what I enjoy. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start taking some more relaxed photos, just doing things that I like rather than feeling like it has to look a set way. So I've got about a half hour, so I'm going to spend a bit of time this morning taking a few photos, seeing how I feel about them. And yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I really don't know, honestly. I feel like this week is just a bit of a hectic one anyway because we're back to work, but I really am hoping I get a chance to sort out my shelves soon. And yeah, fingers crossed I enjoy The Girl King. This is a 5-star prediction. It is, I believe, just a standalone fantasy where we have these two sisters that want to be ruling, which their father then gives it to somebody else, and there's this whole big thing going on. There's meant to be shapeshifters in this and all sorts of stuff, so I think it's going to be a good time. I'm really hoping I like it. I've realised that this month I really haven't had many 5 stars, which I was so surprised at, because normally I end up having at least like 4 or 5 stars a month, and this month I've had 2. And the rest has all been like 3 or 4 stars. So it's been a really like, not a bad reading month, but just not anything like, oh, that was an amazing book, apart from As Good as Dead, which I adored that book. But yeah, so fingers crossed this can be another 5 stars and one that I really enjoy. It's definitely been a book I've been putting off for ages. Okay, I literally am just rambling right now. So I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go and get on with my day. I'll bring you guys along with me. If I can film anything in the exhibit and stuff, I will definitely show you that, because I think it's super interesting. My partner found it and just sent me a video and was like, hey, do you want to go to this? I was like, sure, it looks cool. So that's where we're going. But yeah, I will definitely bring you along with me, and hopefully I can share some of that with you and just see what it's like. But yeah, that is it. I feel like I've said yeah quite a lot, so I am just gonna go and I'll catch up with you soon. The usual stuff that I'm about to say. Right, time to take some photos. Focus. Let's go. Hello, so I've had a nice couple of days, I'm not going to lie. Wednesday we did go to the Blue Paradox exhibit, and that was actually all talking about plastic pollution and the things that we can do to start making a change in that. You also had a quiz that you could take to see how much you're contributing. Mine was actually a little bit just below average, and that's genuinely just because I live so close to work, and so I walk to work instead of like getting a car or something like that. And so my transport contribution to things is very minimal, although I will get a train couple times a week to go and see my partner or things like that, but the majority of my days are spent walking. So that was the biggest thing. Plus it also talked about things like using a tote bag instead of getting a plastic bag, which I do already, having your reusable water bottle with you, and again, those are the sort of things that I do anyway. It was really informative. I think it's really helpful, especially if you don't know where to start, and the interactive exhibition was amazing because literally you had this, it was like a video thing that went on, but it was like the floor, all the sides, the ceiling, everything was lit up and showing you this world, and well, our world, and how beautiful it is, and the fact that we do need to save it. So it was really interesting. It was this pop-up thing, it was free of charge, and I do think that, like I said, if you're not sure where to start with making a change, it was definitely worth going to. For me and my partner, there was a lot of stuff that we already knew, but again, considering we didn't know what it was about going into it, we both still thought it was a good time. And then afterwards we went into central London as per usual. I stopped by Daunt Books. It is a lovely bookshop, I will have to say that, but it's nowhere near as big as I thought it was going to be. Like, it is beautiful, and you have like this split level balcony part, which is amazing, but it genuinely is a little bit smaller than I thought, which I'm not mad about. But it just was unexpected. And also the way they split their books is it's actually done by country. So if a country first printed that book, especially the classics, then it was underneath that country, which I thought was really, really good. But the only downside to it is, unless you know what country that book was from, you're not going to be able to find it as easily, unless of course you just actually do a bit of research, which I think is good because it does promote people to look into it and be more aware of where that literature is originating from, which I did like. But it did mean it was a bit more like spread out and you had to do a bit more hunting, which again, I don't mind because I think that's all part of it. But yeah, no, it was a really nice day. I did end up, once again, breaking my book buying ban. I picked up Small Favours by Erin A. Craig. This is the author that did House of Salt and Sorrow, which was a 13 Dancing Princesses retelling, which I actually really enjoyed. It had a really unusual, creepy, paranormal twist at the end, which I thought was really well done. And this book I didn't even know was coming out. I'm not sure what it's about, but I just saw it's by the same author and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get that, and I absolutely love it. We've got flowers and honey all over it, and I am expecting another slightly creepy, twisty turny book, which we'll see. Now, this is not going to actually be in my book haul because I already filmed my book haul, which was early, but I was like, I'm not gonna buy any more books, and yeah, I did. I should have realised that I was going to, but I was flying through filming books, so you'll see that book haul in about a week and a bit's time. But yeah, this is not going to be in there. This will have to wait to another book haul, but that's fine. I mean, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day, right? It makes me feel a bit better that I didn't buy as many books, even though I have. Anyway, on Wednesday I also finished 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. This came out as 4 stars, and honestly everything I've said about it before just stayed true all the way to the very end of the book, and the end of the book sealed the fact that this is a prequel because you have mention of another of the characters that you meet in Spin the Dawn, but it's how he became the way he is, and I think that's going to be explored even more in the second book in this one. I think it's going to be another duology. I'm just making that assumption, I'm not actually sure. But yeah, so that was really interesting, and I'm really intrigued to see how that develops over the next book. And yeah, I really enjoyed it, though it was magical, whimsical, a really great retelling, fairy tale like. I thought it was lovely. So yeah, that's that one. And then I did start, as I said I was going to, The Girl King by Mimi Yu. I started this Wednesday and I've read more of it last night. We are up to chapter 8, so almost 100 pages, and so far I'm enjoying it. It is going in a direction I didn't expect. It is also not a standalone, I had that wrong, but we are following 3 different perspectives. So one of the perspectives is Lu, and she is the daughter of the emperor who wanted nothing more than to become the emperor after him, and she feels completely betrayed when instead of choosing her to become emperor, he instead marries her off to someone so that he can become emperor, which she's just like, nope, I'm not standing up for this, and so she starts causing a bit of a ruckus. Then we have her sister's perspective, Minyu, who is a very timid girl who is constantly hounded by her mother on terms of how she looks and how she's meant to act, and she just feels very frustrated that Lou gets to do whatever the hell she wants and that Minion can't, that she has to meet this certain expectation. And you start seeing some of these slightly darker thoughts that she has. I'm getting a really almost, I feel like she's going to end up as some sort of morally grey character. I feel like she's got that potential in her, and I can kind of get why. So I'm getting behind that. I'm really intrigued. And then the last character perspective is Knock, and he is someone that I believe is the wolf shapeshifter, which is not a spoiler because it is on the back. And he is living in the slums of the Empire, and you're kind of just learning a tiny bit around him. He's a very secretive person. You don't know too much about him, so I don't actually have much to say on him, but again, I'm intrigued to see where that's going to go. So yeah, we've just kind of met all of our characters, setting up the basis of where the storyline is going to go, and I am genuinely intrigued to see how it continues. So far is not feeling like a complete adult novel. I feel like this is more young adult, potentially new adult, especially because our characters are all quite young in age. And I think for me, I personally find that if you've got characters that are younger in age, I see it as a younger book, which is not true. That's not the way it should be, but that is the way I see it in my mind. So when I say, oh, this feels like a younger book, even though it's an adult fantasy, it's normally because it's got younger characters in it. So that's just kind of how I feel. But yeah, so I'm intrigued to carry on with this one. I would love to say I'm going to get this finished up over the weekend, but it is almost 500 pages and I just don't think that's actually going to happen. I don't think that's realistic. There we are. I have not mentioned any audiobooks for a little while now, and that is simply because I am just really not into them at the minute. Like, they were great and they're a good way if you want to get more reading done each month, but I am a physical book reader. I prefer actually holding the book in my hands and reading it. I pay so much more attention that way. Now I have to admit, audiobooks, there has been like 5 of them that I have absolutely adored and want to get physical copies of and thought it was a brilliant time. But a lot of the time I do just find myself zoning out on them. That's why you're not seeing me talk about them as anywhere near as much as I used to. And to be honest, this month I think I started one and then I just didn't even bother continuing on with it because I just couldn't be bothered. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. So if you were wondering why I'm not mentioning audiobooks, it's one, because I'm just not invested and feel like I want to be listening to them at the moment, and 2, I also don't even have any headphones that I like. The headphones that I was using broke, so I bought some cheap ones to do for now and I really don't like them, so I haven't even been using them. So that's another reason why there's no audiobooks, and I am just enjoying going back to my roots and just reading the books physically. It means I read less each month, but I'm much preferring it. Anyway, I am actually running late for work, so I need to get going. Yeah, right, we're gonna go. Evening. It is a beautiful sunny evening. Also, if you can hear the dogs barking, they have gone mad out in the garden. Don't ask me why, I've got no idea, but it's fine. We're just here to wrap up this vlog anyway. I have had quite a nice few days, I'm not gonna lie. Today was obviously my day off. I always have a Sunday off, and me and my partner went to central London. There's always this unusual exhibit that's going on around South Bank. There's always something different there, so we thought we'd pop in because there was something new, so we were like, let's have a little look. And there was this really weird sculpture of all these little like doll heads with bats on, one in pure white and one with a white with red all over it, and it looked so interesting. So I was like, well, that was a good one. And then yeah, that's honestly about it. We just went for a wander, had some boba, and just had a nice day, which I cannot complain with. I'm really happy with it. Now I will say I did not read anything much over the weekend. I probably read about 40 pages, and that's because one, working, and two, Saturday evening it was my mum and dad's wedding anniversary, so they went out for a meal, so me and my brother decided to chill out at home, grab some takeout and watch Divergent film, which was nice. As a result, I have not read much of The Girl King at all, but I am actually really enjoying this book. I think it's got so interesting. It does have that build up, especially with some of the things that's going on, because there are a lot of darker themes in this, which definitely from my initial reading of the book, where I was like about 90 pages in and I was like, not sure if it's actually adult or not, because it's feeling more YA. Now that I'm getting further into the story and it's building, you're seeing those darker things come to light, and I'm actually really enjoying that. I think it's really well done. So this is one where I don't think at this point it is that 5-star read that I was hoping for, but it's definitely one that I can say I would get the second book. Really intrigued to see where it's going to go. I'm liking our character development and everything that's happening with these two characters. Well, 3 technically, but with the 2 sisters in particular, I'm really enjoying that, and the darker magic that we're just starting to learn about, and because we're learning it from Min's perspective, who has no idea about any of it, it's definitely keeping that going. So yeah, really intrigued, hoping to read a chunk more of this evening. That is where we're at. I've had a really nice week overall, considering I was back to work, but I've still enjoyed it. I can't really complain about it. I think especially because I've taken a step back when it comes to work and realizing, you know what, it is work, but I do come first. Like, you know, being able to take a rest for yourself is just so important, and my 2 weeks off definitely made me realize, you know what, working pretty much a whole year without any time off was just ridiculous, and I'm definitely not doing that to myself again. As much as yes, I am needed in my work, at the same time I need to look after myself as well. So that's definitely what we're going to be doing going forward. So I'm very much like, okay, when it hits my end of day time, that's it. I'm checking out from work. I'm not going to keep focusing on it anymore. It's just reprioritizing things, and yeah. So that's been good, and it's been nice to go back to work with that mindset, because I'm not letting myself get anywhere near as stressed out as I normally would. So that's been great. So yeah, I've enjoyed it. I can't complain. I hope you all have had a brilliant week. Let me know what you've been up to, if there's been anything new that you've seen or anything. Let me know what you're reading, all those usual things. So yeah, I will be carrying on with The Girl King next week, so you'll have to see that vlog to finalise the wrap up for that. And then I'm thinking I might just start my October TBR early, because, well, why not? Right, rambling, so let's go. As I said, let me know what you guys have been up to, what you've been reading and stuff. If you have enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it that thumbs up, subscribe, comment to let me know that you're here. Social media links are linked below, and other than that, we're gonna go. So I will catch you in the next one.